So maybe I can provide some instructions on next steps. Typically, if you don't have enough lot area as part of the Venice specific plan, you would be requesting either a specific plan adjustment or a specific plan exception. But given the circumstances here where you're short on lot area to have at least 90% of the next available dwelling unit for each lot, you would need to request a specific plan exception. You would not qualify for a specific plan adjustment. So in the event that the advisory agency denies the request to modify the condition for the required waivers, then your alternative, if you'd like to keep the 4 units as proposed, you would need to request a specific plan exception, and that would be concurrent to this case number here.
This has been an active issue, and to drop this on me in the middle of a hearing, you know, this isn't really, you know, oh yeah, 3-4 units. You guys have known this was an active issue for a long time. We've met on this. I've turned in papers on this. If this was going to be the case, we should have dealt with this before.
The purpose of any request,
and
I don't think it doesn't seem like you're prepared to provide any additional comments.
Well, it was, because I've sent it to you guys before.
Right, so the purpose of this forum is to vet the issue with BOE present, because again, the authority is not under the Director of Planning for this case, it's under the advisory agency and this committee. So if you don't have any additional comments or documents to provide, we're going to close the public hearing and go on to deliberation. So if you have additional documents you'd like to submit, then you can submit at the end. So I'm going to close public comment at this point in time and move on to deliberations. Any comments from street lighting?
No.
Okay, no comments. From BOE?
Before this public hearing, we didn't receive any requesting regarding the engineering condition. And at this point, we already state BOE's standard, and we are not going to change our recommendation to the advisory agency, and we will not accept any more information at this point. So we ask the advisory agency to make a determination for BOE's recommendation to stay all the existing recommendation to the planning to stay as it.
I do have one question for BOE. Just to clarify, the 5-foot dedications on either side, they would go to widen the roadway and increase the pedestrian right-of-way?
Actually, only one street has widening, and another street have a 20-foot half of roadway. So only one.
So Woodlawn has Woodlawn would be widened, or the Boccaccio?
Yeah, the street widening is on the Boccaccio Avenue.
And then on Woodlawn, it would just be
it's just the sidewalks.
Okay.
Yes.
So on the Woodlawn side, then, if the roadway itself is not widening, it seems that perhaps if the intent is to just have a wider sidewalk on Woodlawn, that it could be something that could be done with an easement on?
Basically, existing sidewalk only 5 foot, and for the residential area, usually the sidewalk area standard to be 12 foot. But at this point, they have the street, the roadway is wider than required. But so after dedication, they only have 10 feet. However, since after 5-foot dedication, they already meet the half roadway requirement, and also 10 feet, it will be barely enough for the sidewalk and the street trees. Basically, if by the ADA requirement, the minimum sidewalk area width to be 5 foot, but by the city street, we always have street lights, or fire hydrant, and all those other infrastructures. Therefore, the 10-foot sidewalk. Okay, in this situation, I can consider, since we can have 5 foot of sidewalk, somewhere can have 4 foot. So 4 foot plus another 4 foot, the sidewalk area can be 8. So I can consider to give, let me see, 10 foot of easement. So on the, this street, yeah, Woodland Avenue, we can change the condition. Instead of 5 foot dedication, we require 3 foot dedication and 2 foot sidewalk easement.
Okay, so, is, staff, do you have a calculator? We can do some math here, just see. Okay, actually, no, the math is pretty simple because it's a 2 foot easement, it's a 50 foot wide lot, 50 foot wide lot. So how much short are they on what's it called, lot area for the purposes of density?
So basically, what we are working is to try to make the minimum lot area to have 4 units, right?
Yeah, because if the dedication isn't necessary and something can be satisfied with an easement, then the applicant wouldn't need to request further discretionary action for the density. So, okay, so the existing lot area, it says gross lot area. What's the gross lot area?
5,009.
Okay, and then minus the 5 foot on Boccaccio 250, so minus the 250 on Boccaccio. So 5,009 less the 250 less the 300. And what are you left with? Oh, I'm sorry, 150. So less 250 and less 150.
$4,609.
Sorry, give that to me again.
4,609.
Yeah.
It's 100 by 50, so it's 5,000. 5,000, then you subtract, it's 100, you subtract 5 would be 95, subtract 93 would be 92.
Yeah, that's still.
So 92 by 50.
Yeah, you're still short because.
92 by 50, then you divide by whatever density is.
So
Density is 1 to 1,200, right?
what zone is this?
Yes.
1 to
It's-
1,200.
It's 1 per 1,200?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not this isn't RD 1.5?
these are R3.
It's R3.
One of the few R3 lots.
Well, actually, then let's do this again. Yeah, so that leaves you, it's still 3 units, so with the 8. So the question then is whether you would need a specific plan adjustment or a specific plan exception. So if it's 90%, then you can request a specific plan adjustment.
So I need 4,800, 4 times 1,200.
Well, if it's 90% of 1,200, let's see what 90% of 1,200 is. So you would need at least 1,080 square feet after the 3. So what's 1,200? Yeah, so you're short 80 square feet of lot area.
Why didn't you have them do the magic with the,
Well, so the purpose of, discussing whether an easement is appropriate is to see how much of an easement, can be accommodated by BOE so that, we still have enough right-of-way for safe pedestrian access, but, we're not going to change the numbers. It's based on whatever BOE feels is appropriate as the easement area. So if it's 2 feet, then, you're short 80 square feet.
I want to get this done without having to do a specific plan exception. I felt like you guys were going to deal with this. You said you were going to.
So again, you request an action. Your requested action is something that's considered by this committee and by the advisory agency. Just because you request a waiver doesn't mean that it's granted. So at this point in time, it looks like there is not enough lot area to consider this under a specific plan adjustment. So what that means is that you would need a specific plan exception. In terms of BOE, they've looked at it and they're recommending now
I'd like to leave it open so I can work with BOE on this. I don't.
It doesn't look like, that's up to you whether or not you want to try and do that. But BOE has already stated that, they're not going to be accepting additional comments. So with that, I'm likely to agree. I'm going to agree with BOE on the revised condition for a 2-foot easement. Is that correct, or is
just leave it open.
2-foot easement?
Yes, 3-foot dedication and a 2-foot easement.
Okay, so staff will include that in the notes, and we'll make those changes. And with that, I have a request from both the applicant and the member of the public to take this or open the public comment period for a couple more weeks. So I'm going to take this under advisement, but I'm likely to approve the map with the conditions as modified. And then we'll leave, why don't we say 4 weeks to allow additional comments to be submitted to the record. And since this is a joint, there is a pending director level determination. The final decision on the map will be issued with the director's determination